as it is preparing. All right, and we are live, the here and the now. So beautiful to be here today on this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday afternoon. And we are giving thanks for God to bring us here today and be able to share with you this broadcast, this here and now. The reality of today has created opportunities for entrepreneurship. And the reality I'm talking about is our COVID pandemic. It has provided so many opportunities for us. And you know, it's all a mindset. It's about how you see this. Do you see it as an opportunity, or do you see it as something that has befallen you, something that has happened to you? And I encourage you to look at something that has happened for you as an opportunity. And the opportunity we're looking at is about entrepreneurship. We find ourselves in more side hustles than ever before. More people, I mean, you must know somebody who's already saying, you know, I've started something in digital marketing. You know, just drop me a line. I can be able to create for you some content, a calendar. I can create for you a flyer. Or somebody else is saying, I'm in transportation, I'm in logistics. If you need anything for your group of people, contact me. It's a side hustle, you know, yet perhaps they are fully employed, but now they've seen the opportunity for entrepreneurship. They've seen the gaps. So we find ourselves in more side hustles than ever before. I could be running 2 or 3 side hustles. This is my choice. It is my passion, my creativity that has been brought to the fore because of this pandemic that we are going through, an opportunity. If you're sitting on the sidelines and just wondering what has happened to you and what's happening to life, I encourage you to look at it as an opportunity. I encourage you to have a mindset of abundance, a mindset of growth, where you are seeing the opportunities. Let's call it this. You're seeing the silver lining in whatever is happening around you. So though we are in these side hustles, the assumption is that people are going to want what it is that I am selling, my product, my services. Well, definitely the people are customers. So whether they're your relatives, whether they're your friends, whether they're your network, we call them the tribe, that community, they are your customers. And these customers equals revenue. Because if you're running a business, whether it's a side hustle, and I encourage you to register that side hustle, because once you register it, guys, you get the opportunity to get learnings and fundings, and you can even apply your taxes. That is coming around the corner. And therefore you become that citizen who's making a difference here in the country, and you can stand up and feel able to communicate and contribute and bring something to the table. So yes, please go ahead and register your companies. It is good for you. There are benefits in doing that. So the one thing that we agree we need is customers, whoever these customers are, because these customers equals revenue. But then it's never that easy. There is a science to getting these customers. There is a science. In LMC right now, in this month, we're looking at energy and prosperity. Energy and prosperity. And that energy, as you feel, is what is it that you're bringing to the table that everybody wants a piece of? That energy that you have in the passion to wake up, that purpose. And then your prosperity is growth. What is it that you are growing in? And definitely in your side hustle, you are growing. Therefore, you need to know what kind of customers you need to target. So it's about taking on what life has to offer, what it has served us, and choosing to see the opportunities. I cannot say enough of that as I keep on trying to explain to those who will hear that in whatever we do in life, we must be able to have a game plan. And if your game plan is your side hustle, then what do you need to do? You need to understand who your customers are. So I'm just going to share my screen as I boast a little bit, and I just want to share this journey with you. And this is me in this month of May as LMC Consultancy. We've been having so much fun. And for those of you who have been part of this fun, I say thank you so much because you are my customers. Now, just jumping into what we have been doing this month, we started off with Lady in Waiting. And thank you so much for bringing in your young ladies to be able help us to be able to help these women transition into society. For girls between the ages of 12 to 18, those who've just completed the KCSE, they're at home. This is what you want to be doing. Great, as you see on the screen. Social skills, core values, self-esteem, personal purpose, things that you think are only for you. This is the age where you need to introduce this to the young women so we can help them gracefully into transition into society. We want a strong society where we are the transformation. So through 6 sessions, through 12 hours and 6 workbooks, we are able to help her transition. We then go into Awakening Self. We did this in the week of 10th to the 14th of May. I am a budding author and about to publish my book, for those who know, and it's called Awakening Self. So this training by LMC is around this book, and I take you through 5 sessions, 5 tools, and 5 workbooks. There was an early bird offer and give you a value of this at $3,350. Look out on my social media platforms for the next one, which will be in June. Then I had a masterclass called the Creator Masterclass. This was a free one, and I was giving this away. And when I say I'm giving this away, I was already getting excited because we are turning 1 year old on social media as LMC Consultancy. You see, before the COVID pandemic, it was all face-to-face, one-to-one. I mean, I come to your office, I come and I train you in a venue, or we are speaking on the phone. But now it was purpose to go virtual. And I realized that I would find my customers in the social media platform because everybody at that point on lockdown was at home. So I started off last year in June on social media. So I'm going to be celebrating 1 year on social media on the 23rd of June. And so I got so excited and I thought, let me do a free masterclass to be able to unearth the creator in you before I can launch the celebration of 1 year. So I had so much fun. And thank you so much for those of you who came onto my free masterclass where we were unearthing the creator in you. Remember, maybe if you do not know this, everybody has that creator in them. We just keep it suppressed for whatever reason. So get the services of a coach to help you be able to unearth you to you. So day 1 was about identity brainstorm. We had so much fun. Why do you tick the way you tick? I mean, the things that came out, especially when we did a throwback to when you were younger and the things that your parents made you do, which today are very important to you. Yet you couldn't stand it during that time. But now it is important to you, and you're the one who's found in the front line selling this idea to your children or to the youth around you. Yeah, so we had so much fun doing that. Then day 2, we went into beating procrastination. Now this blew my mind because I do have a pattern that has been, bringing in the fact that I would hold out on taking a task to fruition, to completion, because of this procrastination pattern that I had. I am borderline perfectionist. And therefore, for me, I need to have all the 10 ducks in a row. 10 ducks in a row. So if I don't have the 10, then I don't move. However, during day 2, we looked at them as patterns. That is a pattern. So it stops me going into total fruition and execution. And then we went through what then helps you to move from a procrastinator to a creator. So we went through 6 procrastination types and we gave ourselves some advice. Oh, you need to be there to understand. It was great fun. On day 3, we looked at 30-day challenge. And as we speak now, we are literally on day 3. You need to watch out for my IG and for my Facebook. And my IG is at lucy.macredis. And when it comes to my Facebook, it is actually #TuesdayTalks@3, which is on Facebook. And you're already there right now if you're part of our live this afternoon. So the 30-day challenge, we're on day number 3. You want to be part of it. Then we jumped into the masterclass. Like I said, May was busy. May was busy and it continues to be busy. We started last Saturday, and this is a paid masterclass, unlike the other one, which was free. And you do get the same value, whether it is free or it is paid. Day one, we went through values identification. I took them through 5 frameworks of how to come up with your core values, 5 frameworks and things that you have around you every day. Now we gave it a name and we had so much fun. I mean, one of the exercises, without giving much away, one of the exercises was that you had to come up with a personal list of 30 values. And I remember the look of shock on my participants' faces. 30 values? Where are they coming from? I could only come up with 5. And by the time we were coming to the end of our 2 hours, they were already on 25, 26, 27 because of these 5 frameworks that I take you through. However, so that was about what you stand for. We are not here about the masterclass. We are here about our market niche and energy and prosperity. But you see, I just get so excited about what we are doing and how we are changing lives one person at a time. So this coming Saturday, the 29th of May at 10 a.m. to 12 noon, as you see there, we are going into day 2, which is aligning your values. Are you living in alignment with your values? Do you know that most of us live outside our values? And we keep on wondering why we're walking around feeling unfulfilled. And while we're there, let me just drop this one in. I am a Christian, and it was Pentecost on Sunday. And when we were talking about the gifts and the fruits of the Holy Spirit, bam, those were values. And I'm looking at them and thinking, those are core values that have been there my entire life. But you know what? At times we separate these aspects of our lives. So I encourage you to go back to your faith, because in your faith, you definitely have core values. So that is exactly one framework that I'm sharing with you. So dictating your behavior to make daily decisions, you need your values to be able to do this so that you honor them. You do not betray self, because when you do have your core values correct, you are showing up and honoring self, and people know who you are. So join us this Saturday at Kenya Shillings 1,500. You will find the link on my bio on my IG, and that is at lucy.macridis. Hop on there, click onto my bio, get the link, and that's the registration form, and fill it in. And I will give you the rest of the details, and we will see you on Saturday, where we'll be talking about aligning these values to make your behavior in a way that you can make daily decisions in a fulfilling manner. So here we go now. The next 2 things are what we are offering this month and next month. We are giving you this particular time for clarity. It's the best time to look at it because it's gut check now, guys. We're going into the 6th month of the year. You had a resolution in January. 5 months are up. Guys, gut check is so important. Self-calibration, that's what I call it, is important. Time for clarity to identify, plan, and execute, valued at 15,000 shillings. We want you to claim a 33% discount as we celebrate our 1st year birthday. And you pay 10,500 shillings, but you've got to do it before the 4th of June. The same thing applies for this, which is a group life coaching by LMC. It is for ladies. It's valued at 50,000. You pay 33,500. You get a total of 6 sessions plus an exit call. Again, call me, direct message me, touch me on my Facebook wall where you already are by the 4th of June. So yes, we are celebrating turning 1 on social media. So we invite you to join us on our 30-day challenge for a chance to win. So remember to check out our social media platforms for more information. Thank you so much for just obliging me to show off there a little bit of the things that we are doing. I'm so excited, guys, and I hope you can feel me literally popping out of the screen, because in this way I'm able to share what my purpose is, and I'm able to bring it out so that I can help you one person at a time. So are you a creator? You definitely want to jump onto one of my master classes. Or are you a witness and a victim to what is happening around you? Are you limiting yourself in any way, or are you allowing yourself to thrive? So to have energy and prosperity suggests that you are fulfilled. So share with us what you have done and how it has worked with you. So I'm just going to look at my Facebook here and see whether we are live and take any comments so far. And I can see that, yes, indeed, we are live. And I can see that you've already logged in. Karibu sana Geshui, thank you for always showing up. Lily, great to see you. Kavi, good to see you. Jane, Kuvuna, really good to see you. It's nice to see you guys always showing up for this. This is about showing up for self. So today I got carried away, guys. These are birthday vibes. And I really want to move on so that we can start with our session today. We're already 15 minutes into our session. So welcome to Tuesday Talks at 3. This is a platform for women to help one another in our daily journey as we go through the sphere of life. My name, for you who do not know me, is Lucy Makridis, and I'm the founder of LMC Consultancy. I'm an expert in helping women get unstuck and onto their true potential through unlocking their limiting beliefs. I am a certified clarity coach, I am a mentor, and I'm a certified online facilitator. I want to thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. Now, this afternoon, oh, thank you so much for the greetings, Kavi. This afternoon, we seek to know how to identify the right customer for our products and services. Because in my introduction, I was talking about this opportunity that has been brought about by COVID pandemic. This opportunity that we can actually do things that we love doing, that we are good at. We can get paid for these things. It is what the world needs, like the Japanese concept of ikigai suggests to us. So this afternoon, we seek to identify how we can know this right customer for our products and services. And our guest today is Salome Ayugi, and she is a marketing and communications professional. You know, she is a marketing and communications professional, and she's currently the East African Communications Coordinator at Synapis. And she'll be introducing herself when she does come on. Synapis offer training and a community to entrepreneurs to integrate their faith into their work and to grow successful businesses. Isn't that just beautiful? Thank you so much for joining. I can see Nora has joined us. Karibu sana. I'm just introducing Salome. She has 6 years of experience and is here today to guide us. She's going to guide us how to work your niche towards energy and prosperity for self and for your business. So karibu sana, Salome, and you can unmute your mic so that you can introduce yourself. I know I have not done you justice. Tell us, Salome, what is Synapis and what do you do at Synapis? If you could just share with us.
No problem, Lucy. Thank you so much. It's really such an honor to be here today. As you had slightly covered, I've been in marketing literally like my whole career. I really am passionate about supporting entrepreneurs. So I currently lead communications and marketing for East Africa at Synapis. And Synapis is basically a Christian nonprofit that really wants to accelerate businesses, not only in East Africa, but across the whole world. We're really passionate about seeing entrepreneurs realize their full potential and see entrepreneurship as a calling and as a way basically to bring glory back to the marketplace for the glory of God. So it's such an honor to be here today. I'm so ready to give people clarity around their customers. You know, have you been targeting the wrong people? I always say if you're not having any customers, your business is an expensive hobby, to be honest. Nobody wants to make losses. So if you're not getting customers, you're doing something wrong with your efforts and your time. So I'm really excited to be here today.
Yes, well, thank you so much for that introduction. You're very true about these customers. We need them, but then if we don't have them, then so well put, it is an expensive hobby. It's an expensive hobby. So how do we go about knowing the right customer or identifying this customer for my product and my service, Salome?
Mhm. So there are various steps to consider. One thing that I want everyone on the call to know is that everybody is not your customer. I know when you're getting into business, you're usually so excited about realizing your profits and targeting as many people as possible. So you speak to everyone, you market on all platforms, but it's really, really important for someone to realize that not everybody is their customer. So once we've clarified that, then how do you get to know who your right customer is? This is usually done through a process which is called market segmentation, which is basically working on your niche and just trying to find the focus areas for your business, for the products that you're selling, and the services that you're providing as well. So the first step is usually to classify customers with common needs. Even if you're selling just one product, if I can give an example, if you're selling milk, in selling milk, the same way you would give milk to the small vendors in the estates is not the same way you'd give milk to a hotel or a five-star hotel. There's differences in how they like their milk packaged. There's differences in how they want the milk presented. So even if you're providing one product across the board or one service across the board, is it really in the same way? So those are things that you really need to think through, because you need to group your customers according to the ones that have similar needs. That's the very, very first step.
It's interesting that you say that, Salome, because for instance, in LMC, for me, it's about women. That is who I target. And I know that men need it too. And I do know I have this amazing gentleman who keeps on showing up for me, Geshui Moriuki Asante Sana, for always showing up. I know that men need it too. They need my service because it's all about that clarity. I am a clarity coach. Yes, I do provide it for men on demand. And as you can see, I do have a program for girls on demand. And I've had people really asking me to have a program for boys, which I am preparing on demand. But the products and the services, the services that I have are right now for women, because that is the word you're using is niche. My niche is women, and I capture that in my mission. So it's very clear what I do. It doesn't mean that the kind of service I provide does not go across the board. It does, but it just helps me to stay in this niche. And you know what I have found out, Salome? I have found out that especially this time of COVID, a lot of surveys have been shared, and it keeps on asking, who do you target? So if I did not know before that I needed to target somebody or a group or whatever it is, I then knew as a feedback from taking this service. So my message to everybody out there, what Salome is telling us is very important. Working on your niche is important. I just thought I would just drop that in there, Salome. Kindly go ahead.
No problem. Actually, just to add on to what you had mentioned, it really ties into the next step, which is basically fully describing the customer profile of each and every segment. You see, Lucy, how you've mentioned that you target women. There are women who are 55 years old, there are women who are 35 years old. So for this particular product that you have, if you're targeting teenagers, which age group of teens are you targeting? Is it early teens? Is it the full teen group? Is it the late teens? Is it pre-teens? You get to look outside of even age, their gender, for example, just what you'd said, fantastic. You know that you're targeting only women. And even then, there are so many other demographics and elements to look at. Are you targeting women for this pre-teen program who have high school education, who have completed high school education? For your other programs for women who are much older, even in business, are you targeting, for example, if you give the example of a business consultant, even if you're targeting businesses, all businesses are not your segments. Are you focusing on early stage entrepreneurs, people who are just at the idea stage? Are you focusing on growth stage entrepreneurs, people who've been in business 5+ years?
Wow, that makes so much sense.
Or the
it makes
exactly,
so much
because the advice you give someone.
I remember what you said in the beginning that you've got the two areas that you're concentrating on, which is a business idea. And I know this is when we were talking. So there's the business idea stage, and then there's the full business stage. And those are things that you would be looking at when you're segmenting. But before we get to that segmentation, I just wanted to ask the audience, and I can see Jane Kuvuna says, hello, Salome, ready to hear from you. So ladies and gentlemen, share with us in the chat what kind of businesses you're in and what your niche is. Perhaps you have identified your niche. I have shared mine. I am a life coach, so I'm in that business. And my niche is women. And already Salome has explained that we can further break that down. And I'd love to visit that when we just come to segmentation. But let's sample something that you already have. What kind of businesses are you in? It's a side hustle, or it is a registered side hustle, which becomes a business, you know? What is it that you are doing? And do you know who your niche is? Does it resonate with you when Salome says that? What did she say? She said, everybody is not your customer. And you know, Salome, as we're saying that everybody is not your customer, I remember starting out LMC a few years back. And the customers that I worked on were my close family and friends. These were my customers. I now know so much better years in that, yes, it's very good intention to start with the people around me, but it doesn't mean that they are my ideal customer, that they are my market niche. Yeah, that they're my customer. And this was such an aha moment for me, Salome, that I began to look at the years that I had, let me not say wasted, but the years where I had had a lot of learnings, because I came to realize many things. When I would give my services to family or to close friends, it was a totally different mindset for me and for my customer, as it were, at that point. That today, if I was to be given a chance to reboot and go back to factory settings and start LMC today, I would do my due diligence and actually identify who my market niche is. So I can see here that, yes, Jane Kuvuna now has actually put a thumbs up. Irene Mawel, great to have you here, Irene. Irene, you say happy to be here. Lovely to have you here. Thank you, Lucy and Salome, for making time for this important topic. Asanteni sana. Thank you. The question today is what, for now, right now, is what business are you in? And have you identified your market niche? Because Salome made a very profound statement, which was everybody is not your customer. So Salome, I want to throw something in there, like a spanner in the works. And if you could just hear me out, just hear me out. I've got my life coach hat on. As we're trying to identify who our customer is, and we're looking at the niche. And I know you went ahead to try and break them down, which we will look at segmentation. I think it's akin, and I'd love your opinion on this. It is akin to knowing your individual purpose and working on it into fruition, your individual purpose. Because when you as an individual know what you want to do with your life, no matter what it is, whether it is in your career, it is in your spiritual life, whether it is in your family, whether it is in your personal development, you know, or the personal environment that you have, it is, you must know your purpose, you know? So we say we are all living our lives. I will compare that now to the business. So life, business. And then we need a market niche in the business. And in life, I need a purpose, so that we don't walk around like a headless chicken. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree exactly. I mean, you've literally hit the nail on the head, because if you are going against your purpose, you're literally walking in the dark. You'll be doing things that you're not passionate about, things that you don't have strengths in. And of course, if you get into a place where you have imposter syndrome, you're not really sure about this thing that you're doing, you won't have a lot of energy to wake up in the morning on those tough days. you won't have energy to keep on keeping on. And so it's going to be very, very difficult to be prosperous, quite literally, in each and every thing that you want to do in that area of focus.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You know, in my life coaching and in my trainings, I say to people, and they get very shocked. I said, you should not limit yourself to one purpose. You should not limit yourself to one purpose. We have so much potential within us. The person I am when I show up in my family, the purpose that I can have or come up with for my family is so important. And the action plans that I apply to it, and the intensity and the energy that I bring to it, and the prosperity that is the outcome would be totally different from what I bring in my career world. Because then in my career world, I'm not a mom over there. I'm not a grandma over there. I'm not a wife, or I'm not a spouse. I'm not a significant other. So it is so important in life, guys. And thank you so much, Salome, for just being able to join those dots together. I love the fact that you talk about imposter syndrome, because that is one limiting belief that I struggled with forever. And the fact that for the longest time, I did not identify my niche. That is the journey of achieving my purpose, because it is full of learnings. Today, I have applied, and I know who my market niche is. I know them. And when we get to market segmentation, I would really like for you to just take us through all those demographics and the different things that differentiate us, or differentiate us as customers to a business owner. So the journey of achieving your purpose is full of learnings, and the journey of the customer is the same. I'll just leave that there for now, that the journey of the customer is the same. As I sample a comment here, Irene says, when I tell people what you do, sometimes I feel that they put me in a box. Have you had this situation? How do you deal with the frustration of being boxed in that one corner? I'll repeat that, Salome. Irene says, when I tell people what you do, sometimes I feel they put me in a box. Have you had this situation? How do you deal with the frustration of being boxed in that one corner? What is your take on that, Salome?
Well, to be quite honest, when everybody meets somebody for the first time in a networking event or whatever, we always say that first impressions matter. So even when this person is asking you what you're doing, they already have perceptions about you that they have in their head. Even when you tell them the specific sector that you've come from, they also have perceptions that are attached to that area of focus or whichever industry you're in. But I always say that you're not limited to the box. You can break free out of the box. You know, people usually make it seem like just because somebody has put you within this box that you're locked in or caged in. Break open a wall out of that cage. Cut out a space out of that wooden box and get out of it. So I usually just encourage myself by telling myself I don't have to fit into this space this other person thinks I should be in. You know, even just going back to the examples you've said, working with women, there are some sectors or certain topics that people usually feel women shouldn't be involved in, you know, certain conversations or decisions made, you know, even getting investment, even just being in the ecosystem myself is always much harder for women founders and women co-founders, because they think, okay, maybe if we give this amount of capital or this amount of funding to a man, it would be better used. But you don't have to tie yourself to that box to think, okay, you know what, because I am a female entrepreneur, I will be shy. I won't ask for 10 million to be put into my business. I'll only ask for 250,000 because I know that's what I'm going to get.
Yes, we are limiting ourselves. I know in my introduction.
Break out of that box. Break out of that frame.
So true. I mean, in my introduction, I asked, are you limiting yourself in any way, or are you allowing yourself to thrive? So I do love the response that you have given, because it allows us to break free. It allows us to thrive, and it's all a mindset, Irene, and it's about you informing people who you are and you stepping out and stepping up. You know, you're the one who is going to be able to know whether you're in a box or that there's no box. Because I like to flip this around, Salome. We are usually told, and I hope I come out very clearly on this, we are usually told that some of our fears, when we show up in whatever environment it is, some of our fears, if not all our fears, are based on our own perceptions. So if I walk into a room and I already feel that people are perhaps looking and judging me, looking at me and judging, it is because I have that innate fear within me. However, if I walked into a room with confidence, then that becomes my reality of the moment. And my reality is no longer that fear of being judged. So I encourage you, Irene, and I thank you so much for that question, because it's very valid. It is a frustration when it becomes a perception. True. So when you then, people ask you what it is that you do, and at that point you make a choice. And that is what my masterclass on core values is all about, because there you show up as self. And at that point, you have to make a decision. Who am I? Who am I? So the way you describe yourself to people, you are actually informing the world who you are. Because, you know, Salome, if you don't inform the world who you are, they tell you who you are. Exactly. So Irene, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for sharing. And Salome, thank you so much for that insight. Lily Katule says, I love you. Oh, thank you so much, Lily. Thank you. You talk with so much passion. Thank you, Lily. It's the energy that comes with the prosperity. Doesn't mean that days are not bad. The storms do come in, and when they do, it's a matter of choice what you decide to do. I have my dark moments, but the self-awareness is what is important. As long as you're self-aware that you're going through that dark side, which is your shadow, you cannot do away with it. Just learn what is coming with that dark side so that you can come back into the light. So Salome, we are talking about, you were alluding about segmentation, and I was saying that I would love for you to share the different things, because I want to believe that just like my fingers, you know, on my hand, this niche is not a one size fits all. So you've explained customers, and you've actually brought my world down to a good explanation. You know, if it's children, what about the children? If it is women, what about this women? So what about segmentation? What are the steps to segmentation?
So actually, just to add on to what you'd highlighted, getting into the last steps of segmentation, or rather, let me get into the types of segmentation, since we're actually just discussing that. So all those things that I'd mentioned, you know, the gender, being female, all those things I'd highlighted, like teens, that's age, but there are actually 4 types of segmentation. So usually the one that most people are usually common with is demographic segmentation. So this is the who. How old is this person that you're targeting for your product or service? Are they male? Are they female? What's their gender? What's their income level, of course, because the buying capacity of someone who earns less than 100,000, of course, is very different from someone who's earning 500,000 Kenya shillings plus, you know. That's why you see luxury goods companies, they have their own market, and mass market goods have their own market, because they've really focused on the who it is that they're targeting with this specific product or service. Getting into things like the level of education, you know, is this a service that would be best or most beneficial to somebody who's reached a certain level of education, possibly high school or university, or if it's even for people who are younger, you know, do they need to be able to read and write, at least to interact with your content or your service? So these are things that you need to consider. Usually just simplify it as the demographic segmentation as the who. So visualizing who this person is, how old they are, their gender, their income, and all those things.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got the demographic.
The second one.
So what would the second one be?
Yes, so Yes, the second one is now psychographic segmentation. So this is the why. You need to also look at the customer's personalities and their interests, because yes, you may have someone who's 25 to 30, female, earning 100,000 plus, but what hobbies do these people particularly have, or the people that you want to target? What do they have? What are their personality traits? You know, because this also really influences how they make decisions, what they like to do with their time, and how they like to spend their resources like money and time. What are some of the life goals and values of this individual? So just thinking around the why. If I am your customer, why should I sign up for this particular program that you have for women who are aged 25 to 30? If you want me to, if you're possibly a tour company, and you're having a group of people going hiking, let's say to Ngong Hills on Saturday. Am I somebody who's into sports, or literally walking 500 meters and panting like crazy? You know, getting to consider what the hobbies of this person is that you're targeting is also very, very important in trying to get a clear differentiation of the people in that particular segment. Yeah.
The second one. So what would the third one be?
Yeah, the third one, this is pretty simple, is the where. Are you targeting people within a specific country? If it's within a specific country, is it within a specific region? If it's within a specific region, is it within a specific city or only within those cities? You know, because sometimes, just as I mentioned earlier, there's always this huge misconception that you can serve absolutely everybody. But once you get into it, you might realize, goodness, this product or this service was selling like hotcakes in Eldoret, but you bring it to Nairobi, people are like, huh? So trying to get through, you know, who exactly, or rather, where is this person that you're targeting for that particular product or service is something that you also need to put into really great consideration, because it's going to influence a lot of things about your niche. Yeah. And then the last one is behavioral segmentation. Yeah, so looking at their behaviors. So this is now what I'd summarize as the how. So this usually relies a lot on data. If you are frequently on Facebook or online platforms, if you've ever interacted with the back end, you see all that data about how much people spend online, how much time they spend browsing, you know, all these data reports that you see research companies do. They don't do this for fun because they just love to deal with data and numbers. They do this because a lot of companies actually need these resources to have insights onto how their people are spending their time, how much they're spending. So spending habits, things like purchasing habits, browsing habits. I mean, are you targeting millennials and then you're putting ads in newspapers and this millennial hasn't touched a newspaper in 5 years? You know, getting to understand all this data based off of research that's been done is really useful also as you're getting into targeting your niche.
Wow, thank you so much. Well, there you have it. There you have it. And before we just go into a summary of that, Irene has come back and said, thank you, Salome and Lucy. Your response is appreciated. Karibu sana, Irene. And we do hope that the other audiences have gleaned something from that. We would love for you to engage and just share with us what kind of businesses are you in? And have you identified your niche? How has that worked for you? Do you have energy running through yourself and your business? And is there prosperity? And prosperity here meaning growth. Are you moving? Are you in a different place than you were maybe last month or last year? Can you measure that growth? Thank you so much, Jane. You say, Salome, thank you. You know your stuff. There you go, Salome. And she's given you a thumbs up.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jane. And just to summarize here on the steps to market segmentation, as we have, Salome has given us 4 areas, and that is demographics, which is the who, the psychographics, which is the why, and the location, which is the where, and behavioral, which is the how. And for those of you who are looking for more clarification on your niche, because the assumption is that some of you already know what your market niche is, but then you wanted to know how to break it down. Those are great tips that you can start with on steps to segmentation. I love data, Salome, and I became very intimate with data in the last 1 year. You see, in my previous job, we used data again in our marketing efforts, because we wanted to know about product development. We wanted to know what kind of communication to use. And I love the way that you were explaining that you could be targeting millennials and then you are advertising in a newspaper. They're never going to get to see it. And so these were things that we needed to do. But I was so single-minded at that time because of the industry that I was in. And today, for me, data in this world of social media, guys, I just want to share with you this. And Salome, I would like your input on this. When you go back in and you look at the back office on the insights of your social media, whether it is Instagram or whether it is Facebook, you have data that you can use. For instance, I say that my niche is women. When I went back about 2 or 3 months into going onto social media, I actually was guided to these demographics. I was guided to how old these women were, the people who were following me, because it shows you in a graph form. And therefore, I now knew my niche, and I knew the demographic as to their age. And then the whys that they were coming on, what was it they were asking about, was answering that question. And I was able to build my product around that. The where, of course, then it showed that I needed to make a decision if I wanted to expand, whether I could see the locations where these women were coming from and the opportunity of more locations I could go to. And this is a subject for a totally different day, Salome, is looking at my competitors and seeing which locations were they showing up in, and can I show up in the same locations? And then the behavioral is how does this customer act around whatever it is that I have? So it's about matching my products to that customer. That's what it is. And I love the fact that we've got these steps to segmentation. If you would like to throw in something, but I would like you to take it into customer profiling. And in customer profiling, it's about the description of this customer, because it's something you explained, classifying this customer of yours and that description, and trying to put this customer into a kind of how do I explain it, a person who understands that this service is going to meet their need, so customer profiling. So if you could just take us there, what is customer profiling, and how can we go about it?
Yeah, so at least with some of the points I'd summarized, you actually have all the tools you need to be able to do customer profiling. So when it comes to customer profiles, this is basically like an avatar of who your ideal customer is. So if you have, let me give an example. Let's say this is a business owner who is a woman who has a shop, yes? She sells clothes to women, and she's gone the step ahead, and she's, of course, because women wear different types of clothes. I mean, there's casual wear, there's office wear, there's maternity wear, and then she's specified and said she's focusing on casual wear and official wear. But even then, if let's give, you actually should embody each and every element of your customer. If it's even creating like a storyboard or a board where you're putting images of what this customer looks like, let's say you're looking for a jockey who is between the age of 35 to 40. She is a corporate lady, possibly a senior manager or a junior manager in some organization. So she's looking for trendy, nice, smart, casual to stand out in her board meetings, to stand out in meetings with other people in the company. This is someone who has a lot of spare time on the weekends. So that's possibly when they're scrolling through their phone, looking through the latest fashions and all that. This is someone who's very into the latest trends. So what kind of magazines do they like to read? Is it Vogue? Is it true love, and you literally get to visualize what this person looks like. Because once you have that customer profile in mind, even their revenues and everything, you get to even know the imaging that you're putting out in your marketing. Would this appeal to the Njoki who is 35, who is a senior manager, who is free on Saturday and is looking for trendy corporate wear?
Wow.
So getting to have a profile for Njoki who's 35, corporate, getting to have a profile for Anita who is fresh out of college, fumbling about, doesn't really know how to dress in the corporate place, so she's kind of looking for simple clothes and outfits to get her style and everything. She's looking for comfort because she's not driving a car. This is someone who's javing, you know, so they're not looking for short things that will pull up when she's or get blown by the wind when she's walking in town, moving from stage to stage. Someone who's looking for comfort, someone who's not necessarily looking for things that are complicated in their attire because, you know, they can't easily change, the comfort of their cars and everything. So you have a customer profile and image for Anita. So just getting to visualize each and every aspect or element of who you're targeting for that particular product or service, visualizing it. If it's going to Google Images, going to Google, just trying to find images that resonate with who that customer profile is and placing them on your wall or just showing them to your marketing team.
Wow.
It's really, really going to
Salome,
give a lot of guidance.
This is just amazing. I mean, ladies, can you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? For us, we need to come up with a customer profiling. She's talked about an avatar of the ideal customer in the eye of your mind. Who is that ideal customer? And I like the way she has brought all the segmentation together. She's even thrown in the hobby in there of the customer. So this suggests to me that I need to sit down and imagine this individual who would buy my service or my product. Then I have to imagine their journey. Where can I show up in this customer journey? So if this customer is shopping around for something, where can I be? Am I going to be in that magazine? Am I going to be in an online catalog? Am I going to be on a billboard because maybe they're driving and it's traffic time? Am I going to be on the radio because this is what they listen to? So it's amazing what you've done, Salome, that you've just brought it all, you've brought our segmentation all together so that we can then be able to come up with this customer profiling, just bringing that segmentation together to come up with a customer profiling. Wow, this is amazing. You know what, Salome, tell us how we can find you, how we can get hold of you, because there's so much we can speak here, and I do hope that we can get you to come back on our Tuesday Talks at 3, because we are already expiring the 1 hour that we had this afternoon. Irene says,
oh yes, there's a saying that time really flies.
Time does fly. Irene says location is tricky for some of us who work online. I would love for you to answer that one, how location could be tricky.
Okay.
I'd like you to use it as an opportunity. Tell us, Salome.
So to Irene's question, if she's mentioned she works online, I'm guessing she's possibly a consultant or a freelance creative or designer or something in the like. I think even then, when you put your services or products online, you should, even if you're working on the internet, you should still visualize which kind of place you'd want your client to come from. You know, there are some places that possibly pay creatives better, so it's a global marketplace, yes, but even if it's online, the amount of money that would possibly be paid for a particular service, let's say in Europe, would be very different from people in Northern Africa. So another thing about segmentation is you should target profitable segments, because you can have even 5, 10 customer profiles, but you realize 4 of them are not profitable. You're actually making losses serving them. Despite how much you love to serve this segment, you're actually bleeding dry. So even if you're basically, it is a global marketplace, but you still need to think through which regions you think would be best for you to focus on. Because even the amount of messaging, or rather the tone of voice that you may use in an Arab country and how you market certain things may be very different from like the free world kind of messaging in the Americas and Europe. It's just basically sharpening your knife. So even if it's in the global marketplace, the kind of copy or imaging you may use on a post advertising your services in a Muslim country may be different from the kind of image or copy you may use in a Western country or an African country.
Do you know, Salome?
Mm-hmm.
Salome, I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
And just in addition to that, for Irene, I hope this helps you, Irene, and the others who have tuned in. I have a product that I sell in India. And yes, the tone of voice is very different. Remember now, already there's the thinking that what can come out of Africa to teach India. So my tone of voice is very different. And how do I go about this? It is about promoting in that space. It is not using the same things that I promote here. So my ads are specific to India, and social media gives you that option of choosing where your customer is coming from. So if you're going to run an ad, it helps you and it tells you to customize who your customer is. And I'm telling you, these are the learnings that I have had since June last year. Irene, it is great to know there's a lot of opportunities out there. You do not need to be limited by the location that you are in. In fact, nobody needs to know exactly where you are at, because you can choose to just withhold that information. You become a virtual assistant. And therefore, you are talking to different parts of the world. And somebody will come one day and ask you, and where are you? And you say, I am in Nairobi, Kenya. And only then do we come out and say. So I do hope that helps. We've got 5 minutes to go. And in these 5 minutes, Salome, I'd like you to do two things. Where can we find you? What is happening in your world that we can benefit from at this moment? And then you tie it off with 3 takeaways.
No problem. If I'll just quickly share my screen and just show 2 slides.
Okay, I will just give you the permission to share your screen.
Okay. No problem.
Okay, there you go.
But to the people on the call, just as I mentioned,
you can share your screen now.
Great. So just as I'd mentioned earlier, I handle communications and marketing at Synapse. So our 9 to 5, our 8 to 5 is basically training entrepreneurs, accelerating entrepreneurs, and working with them on their business journeys. So we've covered a lot today, and it was a very, very short time. But outside of market segmentation, outside of working on your niche, there's also market research, handling pricing and all these strategies, and then digital marketing. So there's so much more tied to sharpening your marketing knife. So we actually even have a class for sales and marketing, which is starting in 2 weeks on the 5th of June. Classes are on Saturdays from 9 to 11. And they're fully online just because of COVID and everything. And the cost is 15,000. I should say the investment in yourself and your business is 15,000 Kenya shillings, which is payable in up to 2 installments. As you can see, this is actually from our graduation ceremony last year. We usually give you a certificate to at least show you went through the program. And we usually also, everyone who goes through our programs, we usually give you the opportunity to compete in our annual business plan competition. You can see these are 2 entrepreneurs who got to get 1 million shillings each in our business plan competition that we had last year and televised on KTN here in Kenya, and we also do the same in Uganda. And then for the people who make it as finalists, we also give them 6 months of funding and basically get to work with your businesses. So it's simple. If you just go to our website, www.synapse.org, you'll be able to see all the details about how to sign up for our programs, how you can apply. I'll just share my screen to show my contact. So if anyone needs to see that and save it, go to the next slide. But that's basically my email is just Salome, SALOME @Synapse, SINAPIS. A lot of people call it synapses. We don't catch feelings. We know it's not an English word. When you're typing it in, it's SINAPIS.org, and then our website is synapse.org.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Salome. Thank you so much. And 3 takeaways, something we can go home with. I do not leave my audience to go empty-handed.
Very, very important. If there's one thing, I can't emphasize this enough, not everybody is your customer. I beg you all who are watching and listening, come to the realization that not everybody is your customer. And if you're dreading this whole process of customer profiling and segmentation, I just want you to know you're not known as just another sum. And then thirdly, customer segmentation, it sharpens your marketing knife. Nobody wants to cut bread with a blunt knife. So why are you cutting through your marketing strategies with a blunt knife? Sharpen your marketing knife.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. And I appreciate all of you for just logging in and just hearing. Look at those 3 takeaways. Not everyone is your customer. Finding your niche helps you to differentiate your brand. And customer segmentation sharpens your marketing knife. You couldn't have put it better. Thank you so much, Salome. That was an insightful session on working your niche.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Because now we can see how successful and full of energy we can be once we know our purpose for our business. Thank you so much, Irene. You say it was a wonderful session. I'm very sure the rest have received the same kind of nuggets. So your decisions when it comes to product development and communication to that target audience comes from this area of knowing your niche, going to your market segment, and that profiling, that avatar profiling. Thank you so much, Salome. Well, guys, June is already upon us, and might I say, it is already the mid-year, as I alluded to in the beginning. It is definitely the beginning of that thing of questioning yourself. How am I doing? What has been my, how do I say, my take so far? How impactful have I been with the year? Have I been specific to my game plan? It's time for calibration. So to bring it all down and funnel it, we will be focusing on intentional living. Are you on track with your game plan? That's the main thing we're going to be covering in June. And I would love to have you guys there. So in the meantime, we have got our 30-day challenge. Hop onto our social media platforms and be part of it. Every day, I will be posting something for the 30 days. We're on day 3, so it's another 27 days to go. Just go in there and I'll be posting something for you. For you to win free sessions with me, all you have to do is post your journey with us, your aha moments, and tag us in as LMC Consultancy, or tag us in as Tuesday Talks at 3. Just hop onto my IG, which is at lucy.macredis, and all the instructions are there and also here on this page. So get in there and be able to share with us your journey. These 30 days, let us celebrate LMC at 1 year. So remember, while you're here, to like our Facebook page if you haven't, and then join our community. We are called We Are Connected. So hop in there, send me a request, and I will answer a few questions, and I will be able to admit you there so that you can be part of our journey and get regular updates. We also have our YouTube. Kindly jump in there on our YouTube, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Guys, let us help to build one another. And until next week, which is a public holiday incidentally, and we will be coming live to you on IG Live. Until next week, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.